That's right, folks. Another episode of the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Bobby LaMarco, and today we got another week under our belts, folks. It's been week 5 takeaways, and of course, as usual on Monday, my camera's extremely blurry, and that's what I love about it. It's going to zoom. There we go. Welcome back. Actually, that's a cool little intro. Zooming right in. Hey, what's going on? Well, we got week 5 takeaways, folks. Before we talk about all that, want to make sure you follow us across the board at Razzball Fantasy on YouTube, IG, and TikTok. And of course, make sure you jump over to razzball.com and always join us on Sundays as we do our Sunday Live Start Sit show. But today's show, I think we did 7 takeaways, starting right now on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. All right, well, and you who's not blurry, that's Gladys L. Tyler. You can follow her on Twitter at Gladys L. Tyler. What's going on, Gladys?
Not much. Steelers won. The world is a good place. Steelers won and the Jets won. That's all I really wanted out of this weekend.
Wow.
Okay. Am I 0-5 in Scott Fishbowl? Yeah. Does it matter? No. Steelers won and the Jets won. That's all that matters.
As long as you just ignore all bad things, you just focus on all the good things, life is good. Like, honestly, I mean, I don't do that at all. That's why I'm full tilting right now as Devontae Adams has 1 target through the first half of the game. Super sweet. All right, let's get a man who never tilts, the steady hand of the group. It's Derek Favret. You can follow him, Derek_Favret. What's going on, Derek?
Hey, Bobby. Hey, Gladys. Good to see you guys again.
Always. How was it last weekend with Sky? Just tell me it was terrible. You guys didn't like it. It was the worst.
I think we went under time, too. It was like we were good. We went under time.
He was efficient. Terribly efficient.
Terribly efficient.
The Jimmy Garoppolo of Razzball hosts right there. Gotta love it. I'm back there just slinging it like Brett Favre. Love it, baby. Just remember who the MVP was, all right? But anyway, so today we're going to be talking about some of the takeaways from week 5. And obviously there's a bunch of things that happened this weekend. And on this show, we're going to cover some of the things that stood out to us heading out of the week. A lot of this stuff is going to be matchup based, but we do have some kind of players that we want to talk about. Of course, there's big time injuries. Check in tomorrow with Sky and Matt. They're going to cover all the guys on waiver wire, all the big-time injuries. James Conner, what's the news with him? Is he going to be out for a few weeks? Anthony Richardson, what does that mean for Gardner Minshew and company? So tune into our tomorrow show. They do the transactions, the waiver wire, everything you need to know. They'll break down all those injuries and how it will impact your fantasy teams moving forward. But today, we just have a big-time question. Jonathan Taylor, just the way we all designed it, right? Jonathan Taylor signs a big contract on Saturday. Everybody's like, oh, here we go. JT's back. And Zach Moss is in the back of the room, probably smoking a cigar, just thinking to himself, okay, all right, you want to pay this guy a bunch of money? Well, I'm just going to go absolutely bonkers on all of Bob's benches. So that's all I heard from that. So now the question is, what are we going to do with the Colts backfield? Gladys, heading into week 6, what are you doing with JT and Zach Moss? What's your thoughts here?
I think you hold on to both. As far as the coach, Shane Steichen, how do you pronounce his last name?
Steichen? Yeah.
Steichen. As far as Shane Steichen has been, when he was the OC in his last season with the Chargers, he always has had a mobile quarterback who has plenty of rushing yards, and then one guy who he sticks with the hot hand, but when that hot hand gets cold, he goes to the next one. So right now, I think it's Zach Moss's backfield to have, regardless of what they play JT. And you don't want to drop Moss, but you can't drop JT either just because of the draft capital you put into him. So you stick with both of them. I don't know if Gardner is as well. I know he's not as mobile as Richardson, so that might throw a wrench into the plans, and he might have both of them, like one of them take over the role of the mobile quarterback. So we'll have 2 high runners, but don't drop either one of them.
Derek?
Yeah, this one hits me real close to home in our guillotine league where we start 3 running backs. I've been, riding Moss, like a pony, unintended there, riding him. And I actually had to start him yesterday because Javonte was, I expected him to be out. So I was very surprised by the output there. And it bought me another week. And that's all you want to do. 5-1 timeshare with Taylor, but that's going to dwindle. I agree with Gladys, though. You've got to hold them both. Whether one of them i.e. Moss, is tradable, before the deadline. Maybe one of them gets hurt, the other, but you've got to hold both of them. I don't think you cut either one. It's going to be about a 50-50, timeshare for maybe the next 2 weeks. And then I think Taylor takes over. But, if you've got Moss, you haven't squeezed all the juice out of this grape yet, but it's getting pretty dry. So, but hold on to him. Jacksonville next week. Probably going to have to play them. After that, Cleveland and New Orleans. Let Taylor have those 2 games against those top defenses, and but you got to hold them.
Obviously you can't get rid of it. I mean, I don't. Before the kick, so I have Zach Moss in a bunch of leagues. I don't have any JT, so I reached out to all the JT managers, and I was like, "What would you want for Zach Moss?" And everybody's like, "Well, I don't really care to have a handcuff, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "All right, well, I'm not going to just give him away to you." And then he drops 30. Now, what do I say to them now? Like, yeah, I mean, Zach Moss clearly sucks. Don't give me anybody on your bench because that makes so much sense. So, but the other question is, he did it against the Titans. Like, what is happening? Like, talk about tilting. Forget about Devontae Adams getting 1 target against the Packers. I'm watching Zach Moss blow up against the Titans on my bench against that defense, and I'm like, what are you like? Now he's got Jacksonville, who's another good run defense, who just shut down James Cook. Like, it's going to be – I'm just going to watch him drop 30 on my bench for the next 6 weeks. And every week I'm going to have the same conversation. And, at Sunday Live Start Sit Show, I'm going to be on every Sunday. Check us out. Watch me tilting every day. I sit Zach Moss every week because it doesn't make sense to start him because we never know when that shoe is going to drop. I'm excited. I don't know. What's a fair Zach Moss trade if you're the JT owner? Does anybody have an idea? Like, if you're a JT owner and someone has Zach Moss, what would be a fair deal for you right now?
Aaron Jones.
You think I don't think anybody's giving up Aaron Jones.
No, I'm just kidding. I did have a guy offer me Aaron Jones for Fab tonight, but no, I don't know. He has value. Moss has value, no doubt. And if I'm a JT owner, that's the perfect handcuff. If you got room on your bench, get them for 60 cents on the dollar. Because you have the leverage, so take it and put them on your bench, and you've got one of those 2. Once that shakes out, the next couple of weeks are going to be rough, but once that shakes out, I think you're going to be able to count on it. And one goes down, you've got a number 1 running back again. So,
yeah, I think only thing I will say is this: they do kind of overlap. Like, Zach Moss isn't like this Nyheim Hines type running back, right, where you could say, well, he's like a passing down back at least. No, they do overlap. So they are perfect 1-for-1 handcuff situation. You're right. But if you go back to Shane Steichen's years with the Chargers, there is hope. Like, if you were to say Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, but Eckler had a certain role, which I don't think Moss would have. So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, everybody, at this one. This is a tough one. I'm just going to just join me on this the train that has no tracks. That's what we're on. I'm excited for all that. But hey, if you need you could start him next week against Jacksonville. If you need an RB2, if you have guys on bye, I think you can still start him. All right, let's jump down to the next one. The Adam Thielen Revival. Now, this guy has been, not only has it been a revival, this guy is a wide receiver 1 in fantasy football. So, Derek, talk to the people. Is this for real? Can we trust it? Or is it time to sell high on Adam Thielen?
Yeah, who among us did not put him out to pasture last year with Minnesota? He goes to Carolina, and we say, okay, well, he's just going to be a guy there. Well, this guy has 4 games greater than 15 points per game, fantasy points per game already. Last year, total 18 games, he had 4. So he's already matched his output as far as, greater than 15 fantasy points per game already. He runs from the slot 75%. It's averaging 11 targets per game over the last 4 and an 82% reception rate. He's been crazy. If you drafted him in the 10th, 11th round, you've tripled your money on that. So he's been a really good find. That being said, though, if I'm an owner, I am selling high on him. If you look at the matchups, okay, they've got Miami next and a bye, but after that, They face 3 teams who are giving up less than 10 points per game to slot receivers. And I think that's where we're going to see reality set in. So he's not going to have, in my opinion, he's not going to have any greater value probably the rest of his life than he does right now. So if I'm a Thielen owner, I am shopping him across all my leagues and just seeing what's the best offer I can get. But take advantage of it. I mean, he's been great, and you've reaped the rewards. But again, my recommendation is I don't think we can trust it, and I'm selling high if I can.
Gladys?
I think that we need to keep in mind that last year he also played with not arguably the best wide receiver in the league, and who commands like all the targets. Like he's getting like 98% a target. This year he's playing with arguably not so great a quarterback who is like learning the system. So as long as Young struggles, Thielen is his out. So I don't know that I'm selling because I know that he's going to be targeted extensively, if only him and the tight end. I don't know if you can trust it, but I don't think you can trust Bryce Young, and I don't know that you can trust anyone. I mean, I like Adam Thielen. I like what he's doing in there, and I have some pieces of him I'm not selling. I think that's the only person Bryce Young has eyes for right now, and will continue to be through the rest.
So the one thing I'm going to say is that in our slot first wide rest of season analysis, I also have early season schedules, and by far, it's not even close. The softest early season schedule has been the Carolina Panthers. Rest of season, it drops all the way to 19th, so it's actually a below average rest of season schedule. So the question is, though, because you're right, he's probably going to still be solid, because right now we're talking wide receiver 1. He's a wide receiver, top 10 receiver. So the question is, though, like if you could package an RB2 and Adam Thielen to get who? Like I don't know if Adam Thielen packs the punch. I think a lot of people are going to be skeptical of him. Like Mike Evans, for example. Like would you Adam Thielen and maybe let's say a low-end RB2 type player to get Mike Evans? Is that something that you think is achievable depending on the running back?
And depending on Mike Evans' injury status.
Sure.
Yeah, but on paper, yeah, I definitely think so. I think someone would trade Mike Evans to get Thielen and a running back. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking like maybe like James Cook type player, Madison, Mixon types.
Yeah.
If you get those guys and
Certainly.
try packaging with Thielen to get an upgrade like Mike Evans, maybe even a San Francisco wide receiver, someone like that.
You could probably even get a CeeDee Lamb, right now for Adam Thielen and a James Cook. Someone like that, I'm thinking.
James Cook. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the only reason why, so that's the other thing that's really key here is that why Adam Thielen's playing a lot better is because he plays the slot now. Last season, it was KJ Osborne in the slot. We have seen plenty of really good receivers, and we've talked about this for a long time. Larry Fitzgerald comes to mind. Reggie Wayne comes to mind. Guys in their early to mid-30s who got a chance to move into the slot, extended their careers. So Adam Thielen could just be that guy. He doesn't have to face press anymore. He's in the slot. This could be extending his career just by moving back inside like he was early on his career. That is another huge caveat there as well. Let's jump down to number 3. It's start outside wide receivers versus the Commanders. So I'll jump in right here and just say, when you look at, they have allowed 8 wide receivers since week 2 alone to have double-digit fantasy points. We've seen monster games. They've played some of the best receivers in the game. We have to caveat that. But Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, they have all gone absolutely nuts against this defense. So glad. I know this defense can really stop the run, and watch why they funnel to the pass. But do you think this is a matchup that you should exploit moving forward?
I think if you can exploit it, you should. Unfortunately, their next week 6, they play Atlanta. Not sure who you're going to exploit. Drake London against them. But yes, if they have wide receivers that are getting volume, I would definitely play them against the Commanders.
Derek?
Yeah, I agree. Looking at their schedule, I mean, in most cases, the receivers who are preferentially on the outside, you're going to play them anyway. Like at London, um, a couple weeks they have Philly, so you're playing Smith and Brown anyway. A couple weeks after that is Seattle with Metcalf and even.
Are you playing Smith anyway? Are you playing Smith regardless of the matchup?
Devonta Smith, absolutely. Oh yeah, sure.
Oof.
Yeah. I mean,
Adams just fell.
Unless you're just loaded, with wide receivers, I think Devonta Smith is a must play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in my mind.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think it changes the calculus because the other games against the Giants. Well, what matchup? Is it Hodgkins? Is it High? I mean, who gets the bump up? There and same with New England. I mean, Devon Parker. I mean, does he get a bump up there? I mean, I don't think it really for those guys. It doesn't really change the calculus to me. I mean, you're probably not going to play them anyway. But for the other ones, you are going to play, and maybe you get a little bit, or your expectations are a little bit higher there.
Yeah, I think the one thing I'll take away from this is you got to remember we talk redraft. That's our main focus, right? But there's daily fantasy, right? You could do this might be just something to keep in the back of your minds. I think Drake London is a lock and loaded wide receiver 2-3 next week. Giants receivers. I mean, it's been really rough. Trust me, it's been very rough watching the Giants play over the last few weeks. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to pass on the Giants because I can't. I'm going to get emotional. But then A.J. Brown again and Devonta Smith must starts. Then it's Patriots. And by then, maybe we'll get a better understanding of what the hell's going on there. But I think Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Parker could be DFS dart throws in a plus matchup there. Let's jump to the next one. Puk-n-Coop. Couple of regular Joes. Looking at Puka's value moving forward. Now, Derek, tell the people that this guy's to must-start territory, even if Cooper Kupp back. Talk to us a little bit about Puk-n-Coop moving forward.
Yeah, we've been waiting. All we've heard, the Puka, burst in on the scene is, well, what's it going to be like when Cooper Kupp comes back? Well, he came back, and what do we see? We saw almost an even split in snaps, 52 for Kupp, and 55 for Puka. 12 targets versus 11 targets. Cooper went for 8 for 118. Puka went for 7 for 71 and a touchdown. So fantasy-wise, they essentially mirrored each other. And, I would expect this to continue. Even Atwell got into the end zone. So there's a little bit love there. Higbee, we're still looking for him. But, these two guys, they're, as long as they stay healthy, I expect them to just dominate like they did. I mean, they've got Arizona and Pittsburgh, the next two. I mean, this should be, a circus for the Rams. Both of those guys should get you a lot of fantasy points. So yeah, I definitely like that 1-2 punch there for the Rams.
Gladys?
Yeah, I don't see any lag. Kupp had a 35% target share this week, and Puka had a 33.5. And remember when they had their Super Bowl run, they went with 3 wide. I think you're going to be fine if you have Puka and or Cooper.
Jeez. Yeah, I've talked about this early on in the season. I'm just sorry. I just keep getting these updates.
Stop looking at it and stop watching.
Hey, I can do whatever I want, all right? I dedicate a lot of time. It's the game. Leave me alone. No, so with Puka, I have never this entire time, once Van Jefferson and that stuff kind of faded away, I've said this all off a season. Matthew Stafford is one of the very few quarterbacks that's a talent elevator. He is an elite thrower of the football. He's going to elevate the talent around him. And with Cooper Kupp back, we have seen multiple times from Robert Woods, even if you want to go back further to a couple of seasons with Golden Tate and Calvin Johnson way back in the day. If you want to go back to Kenny Golladay, there's plenty of examples with him and Marvin Jones where 2 wide receivers have been not only good, but dominant for fantasy football. So I think the bigger question is what do you do with Tutu? Because, yeah, he found the end zone, but I think he had 9 receiving yards. At this point, it's probably Puka and Cooper Kupp, who are just going to dominate targets. Does anybody have what's your thoughts? Anybody going to be, what do you think about Tutu? Are anybody dropping him? Are you keeping him? Are you trading him? What's the deal here?
Yeah, well, I don't know how much value he has to trade. Unless you've got better options, you're going to hold him. Especially through the bye weeks. If you need a fill in for a wide receiver, I mean, he he's getting some run, and he might get into the end zone like he did yesterday. So I think you got to hold him, but your the Puka Atwell show is no longer, is now the Puk-n-Coop show. So he just realized he's going to be third or fourth in line now, maybe even fifth in line. But he still has some value, but I don't think anyone's really trading for him.
All right. Let's jump to some questions here. We got a couple questions jumping in. I want to get some answers here before we move on to our next topic. We have a couple trade questions here. Derek's burner. Is this
Nice.
I like this. This is good. Team half PPR 2 flex. He's going to send Kelsey and Mostert to get Jefferson and Ingram. So my first thought process here is, I kind of know, like, if you trade Mostert away, if you have running back depth, I think you probably should go get Jefferson in this deal. I think it's a fair deal, but I would have to know, since you're giving up Mostert, do you have 4 other running backs that you're okay with? But in a vacuum, I would be like, now we're dealing with Jefferson's hamstring too,
right?
Which is another takeaway. So You might want to wait to make this move before you hear the news if he's going to be out for a few weeks. But quick thoughts here, Gladys. Any insight?
I would agree with you. I'd have to know the other running backs in the room if you're giving away Mostert. And I would like to know the extent of because he didn't come back in the game, right? Jefferson didn't come back in the game.
No,
I would like to know.
Sounds like he's going to miss some time.
Yeah, I would like to know. I wouldn't right now at this particular time, but again, it depends on who else you have in the running back room and Jefferson's timetable.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would hold steady. Knowing just what we know here, I would hold steady. Ingram's got a week 7 bye, I believe, too. So you're going to have to deal with the missing tight end, after next week if you make that deal. Plus, the question marks in Jefferson. I would hold steady.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. All right, we got another trade question here. Trade away Pollard and Keenan Allen for CMC.
Yes.
I think a lot of us would be okay with that. Chandler did provide us his full roster down here. He's got ETN, Connor, Kelly, Gainwell. Wide receivers are Evans, Christian Watson, Terry McLaurin, and Amari Cooper. I guess if you trade away Keenan Allen, though, you have Evans, Terry, Watson, and Amari. You guys okay with that still?
Evans, Christian Watson, Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can CMC.
I agree. You're getting CMC. Take it.
Yeah.
All right. Approved. I like that. Should I trade away Waller to get Breece Hall? My running back room is bad, and I have Laporta. If you have Laporta, I think this is a slam dunk. I think you'll go get Breece Hall. That's an easy one, Chris. Good job. Honestly, that's what the good thing about being sharp on the waiver wire, because now that you had that trade chip, now you can trade away Waller, not lose too much at the tight end, and go get yourself a solid RB2 with RB1 upside over the second half. All right. Ray Gamer. Good to see you, Ray. Hey, guys, I'm down by 11 in the standard league. I have Watson, who's only 1.5 yards. Yep, been there. And Adams has 12. I benched Moss and McLaurin and Myers for Gus and Watson, and painful because I could have won. Yeah, Ray, welcome to the world of fantasy football. It is a very, very nasty little thing. I do love it, though, unconditionally, unfortunately. Jamie pops in. What's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you, sir. I think that's all we really got here for questions. And let's get back to the topics. Start slot receivers and tight ends versus the Lions. We just saw the Carolina game. Hayden Hurst, by the way. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Coming out of nowhere and dropping some serious points against that Lions defense. Something schematically, it just seems like slot receivers, the middle of the field, has been where you beat Detroit. They're pretty good against the run. They've been very good against boundary receivers. Is there something to this? Gladys, what's your thoughts?
I think, yes, there is. I think the middle of Detroit, because their pass rush, Aiden Hutchinson, and the pass rush is so fierce that it opens somehow the middle of the field, and the tight ends are slipping in there. So, yes, I would. Did A.J. Dillon just score?
Yeah, baby. Because it's just the world we live in now.
Oh, my God. Because he's on my bench. I would, of course, I would play tight ends against the Lions for sure. And slots, yeah. That middle's open. It's the same thing with Philly. I don't know. Maybe it's like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on this year.
What about you, Derek?
Yeah, case in point, Adam Thielen yesterday, 13 targets, 11 receptions, 107 and a touchdown from the slot. So, yeah, there's definitely something there. And I think Gladys hit it on the head. There's, putting so much pressure on the quarterback. It's just there's a void there, whether it's just, linebackers pushing up a little bit or what. But there's a little void there. And teams, I think, have found that they're taking advantage of it. So, I think there is something there. Detroit, they plan to win. They're going to outslug you. I mean, that's their game plan. I mean, they've got a pretty good defense and they're getting pressure on the quarterback, but I think they just feel like we can give up yards. We can give up a few points because we're going to outslug you. I think that's their mode this year.
This is fun because tight end streaming's tough, and trying to find like deeper names at receiver sometimes are tough. And finding these matchups are key because most of the elite receivers in fantasy football play on the outside. And then the slot guys get kind of, those are the third receivers typically. Not a lot of guys, like maybe CeeDee Lamb, for example, plays in the slot. But like guys like Chris Godwin got off to a slow start this season. They play them next week. Chris Godwin could be a really solid wide receiver 3. The Ravens are really interesting because once Odell gets back fully and Bateman, Zay Flowers will kick back inside. He could have a really nice game against Detroit. Raiders, Chargers as well. Raiders, I don't even know. Maybe Michael Mayer finally gets it going. He did get a couple passes tonight. They don't really have it. Hunter Renfrow. Talk about another guy. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do this. Do Chargers is Keenan Allen, and let's move on. So there's definitely something here. All right, the Panthers secondary is vulnerable due to injuries. So early on in the season, Carolina was awesome and dominant against in the passing game, but they have just been hit over and over again. They lost their safety. They lost J.C. Horn. They have lost Dante Jackson's dealing with injuries now, and they just got gashed by Jared Goff without Amon-Ra St. Brown just lit them up. And so there's something here. You're not going to see it in the slot versus wide metrics necessarily, but over the last few weeks, we have seen the Panthers secondary really get banged up. Now they're bad against the run, so that's just devastating there too. Derek, thoughts here? Do you think this is an ongoing trend, or do you think once they get kind of healthy, they'll be back to normal?
Well, it's going to be an ongoing trend for at least another week because they've got the Dolphins next. Oh. I Dolphins, they might score more than 70. Between the running backs and the receivers against, like you said, that bang up secondary. This doesn't spell, good tidings for the 0-5 Panthers.
Gladys? I think it's an ongoing trend because their defense spends so much time on the field anyway. And it's not like it's the Steelers' problem too. If you wear your defense down, and then you're dealing with a defense secondary that has all its great players hurt. There's nothing, and your offense can't keep up with the other team's offense. There's nothing that defense can do. Play everyone against them.
Yeah, next week, the Waddle thing. Waddle's been fun this year. I've been very frustrated, but last week he finally got it going a little bit. He probably could build off that performance as well. Then they got a bye. Then they got the Texans with Nico and Tank. There could be a little buy window here with Nico and Tank after their down game against the Falcons. And then they got the Colts. We'll see with Anthony Richardson, but Gardner Minshew being there, you're going to want to start Michael Pittman and company. Even shout out to Josh Downs, man. He has played really well last week too. Definitely someone you should try to scoop up. He's been playing great. All right, start running backs versus the Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals have been a nice story, but now we're starting to see some of the unraveling here. Over the last few weeks, they've been kind of beat up against running backs. Mixon didn't have a big game, didn't find the end zone because he got tackled on the 1 yard line 3 times. 3 times. I love with DFS when you watch him. I'm like, just fall into the end zone. Oh, it's wild. So he ends up not getting in. His yards per carry looks worse than it was because he's ramming into the line on the goal line every freaking time. But Gladys, thoughts here about the Cardinals' run defense? Are you targeting this matchup moving forward?
This is why I don't watch when I play DFS because I would have been. Next week they have the Rams. So if Williams is healthy, you're going to play him. And I Seahawks, they don't have Kenneth Walker. They have Kenneth Walker after that. I'm playing running backs against the Cardinals defense because I mean, they're still a good story. They're still playing teams tough, and everyone thought they'd just roll over so you could rub their bellies. But yeah, I am. Their run defense is taking a hit, but it's taking a hit against really good running backs too. You have to, you know what I mean? It's not like they're playing, I don't know, Josh Jacobs, who's averaging 2.7 yards per carry and can't like find a hole today. It's okay.
Don't poke the bear. Listen, we're trying to keep Josh Jacobs from going off tonight. Let's just, Josh, you're doing great, buddy. Don't do anything crazy. Gladys didn't mean that. Don't go crazy now and score a 50-yard touchdown. Can't deal with that. Derek, thoughts here?
Yeah, I know everything Gladys just said, minus the Jacobs thing. But
thank you.
No, yeah, I mean, I think both Williams and Walker are probably going to be top 12 for sure, maybe top 10 running backs. The next couple of weeks against this Arizona defense. So yeah, I definitely. They're a good story, NFL wise. They're staying in games and all that, but there's definitely an issue there, and they've gone against some good running backs. Barkley, Pollard, CMC, like Mixon, like you said, and it doesn't get any easier in the next couple. And I think we're going to see those running backs take advantage.
Yeah, I think Kyron Williams makes an interesting start this week. They do allow a decent. I mean, listen, CMC, of course, went bananas against them. It is what it is. But Mixon had 4 catches. Pollard and Dowell had 6 catches. Barkley had 6 catches. So they're allowing, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that their secondary has been okay. I mean, they're not great against receivers, but they have been okay in the secondary. So it has been more of the running backs kind of getting the work in the passing game too. So that is notable. Williams plays a lot of snaps, but granted, it's Cooper, Kupp, and Puka, and they're just going to go bananas. So forget the analysis. Just ride number 4 and Puk-n-Coop. All right? Puk-n-Coop. Puk-n-Coop, baby, all day. All right, let's check the comms before we close out the show. Looks like we're pretty good here. AJ Dillon scoring a touchdown. I don't need to rehash all the pain that causes me. Other than that, I think we're good here, guys. That's pretty much all we got for today's show. Really appreciate Gladys and Derek jumping on. Before we close out the show, let's go with Gladys first. Tell us what you got upcoming this week on Razzball.com.
Defenses are sexy again. Oh, they were always sexy. Who are we kidding? What's happening? What are you doing?
I was just doing weird dancing because I thought you said sexy. I was just trying to be your background dancer while you said things. You know what I mean? Like trying to be sexy for you. All right.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
That's how you lose followers. There you go.
And so Wednesday, I believe, or Thursday, we'll have the defenses that you should attack this upcoming week for your fantasy pleasure.
Derek?
Yeah, and for me, look for my article, 5 Things to Know for Week 6. I'll be taking a look at the different positions and how they affect your fantasy and even some DFS action. So, yeah, look for that later this week as well.
Love it. Chris, we do have one question here for you. Got Sanders and Javonte at running back, so he needs help there. Would trading Dotson for Najee make sense? I think Jahan Dotson has been – these guys are both a little underwhelming right now. I actually think that you're kind of in a tough spot because Javonte is going to get healthy. Miles Sanders has also been banged up. I guess the question is for you, Chris, who's your other receivers? In a vacuum, it's okay. I'm not excited about either of these guys right now, but Gladys is a Pittsburgh fan. She goes, don't trade him. So
not in PPR, not Najee, no.
What about you, Derek?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not excited about this either, but if you've got to, if you got to do something in your running backs, you're looking for something. If that's the best deal out there, then I probably make it. But
Jaylen Warren's outscoring Najee in PPR leagues like 2-1 right now.
Yeah, I would prefer to have the other half of that running back room, frankly. But if that's the best thing out there and you need some help, I mean, he's gonna get some work, and he might have a game. So you just never know. It's if you were in the spot like yesterday and Javonte doesn't play at 4:30, what are you going to do at 1 o'clock? You got to have somebody. So
I would say this. I think the trade 1 for 1. I mean, Dotson has not been that good. I mean, the other thing with the Commanders, they are Christian Watson. How you doing? All right, okay, everyone, just calm down, tackle him.
No,
Tackle
no,
him.
no, 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 no.
Oh, none of this
No.
right now.
No.
Jesus. We've been doing so good this whole time. All right. Forget it. Anyway, Chris, sorry, I got a little distracted. Watching the game, hanging out with my friends, watching. This doesn't get better than this. Talking about your trade question here. He's got Amon-Ra, Nico Collins, London, Keenan Allen, Elijah Moore.
Ooh.
I'm in that trade. That is a stud receiving core.
That is a stud.
Chris, for making it look easy for me. They had the hard part. I got the good info. I'm good. Make the trade. All right. Should I do this trade? I give AJ Brown, James Conner, Evan Ingram. I get Kenneth Walker, Hockenson, and Puka. I would want Walker, Hockenson, and Puka. What's your guys' thoughts?
He has Walker. Yeah, keep Walker, Hockenson, and Puka.
He gets Walker, Hockenson.
Oh, he gets them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because Connor's hurt. If you can do it now, do it. Do it. I need Love to throw a pass to Watson in the end zone.
No, no, you don't. Get in there, AJ. I don't ask for a lot.
No.
All right. Go ahead, Derek.
You know,
of course we can get out of here.
The torture thing for me is I'm about 30 seconds behind you in my telecast.
I'm sorry.
I'm living vicariously through your eyes and your words.
Yeah, all the pain.
But now, I mean, you've got to consider Connor's health here. And, Ingram hasn't been bad, and, Brown either. I do like, Walker, Hawk, and Puka a little better, but it's not as, it's pretty close for me, actually. So, if Connor was healthy. I lean towards the Walker, Hawkins.
Quit giving AJ Dillon the ball. That's all I ask.
All right. Well, I agree. I think the other problem is there might be with these trades, 1 week you're going to win, 1 week you're probably going to lose. Because it's exactly position by position, you're essentially just flipping starting lineups, right? You're flipping AJ Brown for Puka, you're flipping James Conner for Walker, you're flipping Hockenson for Evan Ingram. There's going to be weeks where you probably lose this trade. There's probably going to be weeks where you win it. So I'd rather do a 2-for-1, a 1-for-2, keep it simple, trying to mix it up a little bit, because I do think there's going to be weeks where you don't win this trade, and that could be a problem. All right, Jordan Love's out here, and he throws in the end zone, incomplete. Thank God, but there is a flag, and it's not a flag. Kick a field goal. Thank you. And once again, I'm your host, Bobby LaMarco. Thank you for joining us once again for the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast. Derek, I was announcing it for you because I know you're 30 seconds behind.
Thank you.
Make sure, and thank you for staying with us, folks. This complete madness. I'm blurry now. It's time for us to get out of here. Hey, follow us tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We have shows all week long on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel, so subscribe. Breaking this down for you. And make sure you join us every Sunday live. We're super excited to do our Sunday live start sit show. Once again, I'm your host, Bobby LaMarco. Make sure you go follow me at Bobby LaMarco on Twitter. Thank you, Gladys. Thank you, Derek. We are out of here, folks.